At the funeral of the great leader of the Lianqing gang, the second leader wants to molest the great sister-in-law named Xia Lam Cam. He didn't expect a weak woman to shoot him to heaven with one arrow. Outside, young Marshal named Feng Yan comes to pay respects to Mr. Song. He says he is acting on orders from the Wanha Society to take over the remaining assets of the Lianqing gang. The third leader draws his gun because he refuses to obey the Wanha Society. In a few moves, Feng Yan has snatched the gun. He thinks the second leader has bullied the common people for years. If the Lianqing gang continues to shrink like a turtle, then he won't show mercy. At that moment, Xia Lam Cam steps forward. Feng Yan thinks the affairs of the Lianqing gang are not for the madam to worry about. Lam Cam shows off that she is wearing the dragon head ring, which is the symbol of the person in power of the Lianqing gang. She suddenly snatches Feng Yan's gun according to the rules of the Underworld. Lam Cam gives the young Marshal a chance for one-on-one. She leaves only one bullet in the gun. It's Feng Yan's turn. He hands the gun to Lam Cam's hand and tells everyone to leave. Lam Cam lays her cards on the table with the young Marshal. Feng Yan wonders whether he should call Lam Cam Mrs. Song or ex-wife. Lam Cam chuckles because after 5 years of reunion, Feng Yan is still as serious as ever. Knowing the young Marshal came to settle scores with the Lianqing gang, Lam Cam helps him light the fire to burn down the ancestral hall. Feng Yan questions. Lam Cam disappeared for 5 years and got involved with the Lianqing gang because of the old matter. Why does Lam Cam blame the Wanha Society for causing trouble? And even getting herself injured. She wonders why her ex-husband searched everywhere for her, just to say such nonsense. Why does Feng Yan remember that back then the Xia family announced only having a son? To save Lam Cam's life. He thinks she shouldn't return to the fire pit. Lam Cam confesses she doesn't mind returning to be Mrs. Feng of the young Marshal. Feng Yan bursts with emotion and forcibly kisses his ex-wife. He regrets never understanding the person. Lam Cam looks at the portrait of Song Lu Xiang. Lam Cam remembers her deceased parents. She affirms that the tragedy has just begun. Back home, Feng Yan listens again to Lam Cam's recording. When she was preparing to marry him. Feng Yan, I will eat 3 meals a day with you. Watch the 4 seasons change, happily spending a lifetime together. Looking at the wedding photo, Feng Yan wonders if you ever miss me. They had such happy days. On this side, Lam Cam thinks every moment she misses Feng Yan. Because he is the one who killed her parents. In the internal meeting, the second leader suspects the death of his 2 brothers is related to the great sister-in-law. The eldest son Song draws a gun to suppress everyone. He thinks the stepmother wants to take over the Lianqing gang, then she must prove her ability. Lam Cam affirms within 3 days. She will take back the Jixiang nightclub occupied by the Wanha Society. If she fails, Lam Cam will voluntarily hand over the dragon ring. In exchange, if Lam Cam succeeds, the elders will respect her as the gang leader. At the Wanha Society, Feng Yan meets the representative of the Wanha Society, namely Qin Shaoxiong. He mocks Feng Yan from an illegitimate child becoming young Marshal. It's not easy. Seeing young Master Qin being arrogant, the young Marshal orders a dish for him. It turns out it's the hand of a thug. That Shaoxiong called to cause trouble at the Lianqing gang, and even beat Mrs. Song, Lam Cam. The young Marshal warns, if young Master Qin continues to act arrogantly, then next time it will be his hand. Shaoxiong expresses goodwill, letting the young Marshal take all the credit for the matter. The Lianqing gang is also left to Xia Lam Cam for himself. Feng Yan angrily smashes Shaoxiong's head. He forbids young Master Chen from interfering in the affairs of Lianqing. Getting in the car, Shaoxiong orders his subordinates to investigate the relationship between Feng Yan and Xia. Lam Cam goes to the casino. Feng Yan unexpectedly meets Lam Cam again. Hearing she wants to gamble with him, he immediately indulges her. Feng Yan is smug because he bet high points. It's Lam Cam's turn. She wants Feng Yan to return the Jixiang nightclub. In exchange, Lianqing gang will hand over the suburban boxing arena to the Wanha Society. Lam Cam knows the Wanha Society uses girls in the nightclub to bribe officials. She reveals she just gave reporters news to expose it. Lam Cam thinks the Wanha Society's exchange nightclub is about to be inspected. To get the boxing arena, the basement will be more convenient for money laundering. As a result, Lam Cam successfully takes back the Jixiang nightclub. Due to the eldest son's recognition of the stepmother's ability, he demands the elders fulfill their promise. The second leader and the elders bow in admiration to the lady's wisdom, decide to honor her as the leader. Lam Cam proposes the Lianqing gang to be renamed Lianqing Trading. She wants to ask the elders to help her run for the position of chairman of the Xinjiang City Commerce Association. Back home, Du Xiao has been waiting for dinner with Lam Cam. It turns out they knew each other early on. Du Xiao returned to the country to help Lam Cam. Lam Cam tells her father was once the chairman of the Xinjiang Commerce Association. Because he investigated the secrets of the Wanha Society, he was killed by them. Currently, the representative of the Wanha Society is Qin Shaoxiong, but the one behind is Commander Chao. Lam Cam thinks it's time to declare war on Qin Shaoxiong. Du Xiao remembers Commander Chao Dotsan, Feng Yan, so he wants to hand over real power of the Wanha Society to the young Marshal. Therefore, Qin Shaoxiong always clashes with Feng Yan. Lam Cam wants to use Feng Yan to find evidence of the Wanha Society's crimes. At the young Marshal's mansion, subordinate named Zhang Xing wonders, why don't you let Miss Yan know your true feelings? Feng Yan thinks he and Lam Cam couldn't reunite 5 years ago. Whatever Lam Cam's purpose for returning is, he will stop her. At Commander Chao's promotion banquet, Lam Cam meets her greatest enemy again. She silently vows to expose the true faces of those who killed her parents to the light. On behalf of Commander Chao, Deputy Qin comes out to welcome Chairman Xia to express goodwill to the commander. Lam Cam says the Lianqing Association has transferred the core assets to Wan Society. This is for Commander Chao. He announces he has caught the old accountant of the Xia family because he once helped old Xia break the economic market. So Commander Chao will execute him on the spot to show determination to purge the Xinjiang Commerce Association. Lam Cam recognizes this as her father's accountant Lu. She tries to resist, but Feng Yan stops her in time. Commander Chow announces, the election for chairman of the Xinjiang Commerce Association begins. Within 3 months of his final term, Commander Chow asks young Marshal Feng to ensure the election goes smoothly. Deputy Qin invites Lam Cam to meet the commander. Before entering the room, he wants to inject a white blood cell culture drug. For Lam Cam, Deputy Qin says, a child of the Xia family escaped back then. Because the Xia family has a hereditary blood disease, so Commander Chow requires those with the surname Xia to be injected before meeting him. Because people with blood diseases, after injection will definitely die from suffocation. Feng Yan wants to inject the drug himself for Miss Xia. He whispers that Lam Cam is his type. So he asks Deputy Qin to let him have his way. Pulling Lam Cam into the room, Feng Yan presses her down on the chair. He questions why Miss Xia is armed with a knife to assassinate the commander. Feng Yan advises his ex-wife to rein in her claws. Because the commander is not as easy to deal with as she thinks. Seeing someone following, Feng Yan stabs the syringe into his own hand. Lam Cam wonders why the young Marshal saved her. Feng Yan makes an excuse. He doesn't want Commander Chow to know that his ex-wife is the daughter of the Xia family. Going out to meet the commander, Feng Yan affirms that Lam Cam is from Fengcheng, not the daughter of the Xia family. Commander Chow tells his foster son not to lose composure over a woman. Feng Yan affirms he's just playing around. He won't let Lam Cam get the position of Commerce Association chairman. After the banquet, Lam Cam wants to approach Qin Shaoxiong. Seeing Shaoxiong about to molest Lam Cam, Feng Yan hurriedly stops him. He reminds Shaoxiong that his warning is still in effect. Feng Yan forces Lam Cam to call the Song family's driver to take her home. Unexpectedly, she makes an excuse that she didn't bring the driver to the kind-hearted young Marshal to take her home. On the road, Feng Yan advises his ex-wife not to scheme against Commander Chow. Lam Cam wonders if her ex-husband still has feelings, so he just saved and advised her why. Feng Yan presses Lam Cam against the car door. He questions why she's so eager to become Mrs. Feng. Lam Cam thinks why she has to abandon the near for the far, when Feng Yan went from an orphan child to young Marshal. Feng Yan tells Zhang Xing to take Miss Xia home. Unexpectedly, she has rented the house next door to become his neighbor. Feng Yan affirms whatever her purpose is, he will stop it. Lam Cam reveals she will not spare the one who killed her parents. Back home, Lam Cam turns on the eavesdropping device to probe Feng Yan. Unexpectedly, she hears her own voice. Feng Yan always listens repeatedly to Lam Cam's confession recording. She can't hold back her tears when remembering the peaceful days of the past. At that time, Lam Cam happily prepared to marry Feng Yan to protect his daughter, so her parents always hid Lam Cam's identity. Before the wedding night, the Xia family suffered a disaster. Lam Cam witnessed with her own eyes Feng Yan killing her father. Meeting Feng Yan outside the door, Lam Cam wonder, aren't you afraid of nightmares living in the old house of the Xia family? Feng Yan affirms that someone as tough as him has never feared ghosts. Cam boasts she has to attend the opening party of the Jixiang nightclub right on time. Zhang Xing reports that Lu Xijia is causing trouble at the nightclub. It turns out Lu Xijia wants to represent Qin Shaoxiong to demand the land back for the Wanha society. He doesn't mind getting rough with women. Feng Yan arrives in time. He says Commander Chow told him to take back all of Lu Xijia's territory. He doesn't want to see him in Xinjiang anymore. Seeing Lam Cam injured, Feng Yan carries her home. In a space filled with bubbles, Lam Cam asks why the young Marshal went to such lengths to save her. Feng Yan thinks the situation in Xinjiang is chaotic. If Lam Cam's life is in danger, he won't be able to save her. Right then Du Xiao arrives to pick up the president. He asks the young Marshal to give the Lianqing Association an explanation about Lu Xijia's disturbance. Back home, Lam Cam sees the medicine bag on the balcony. She recognizes the rose on the bag, drawn by herself as a gift to Feng Yan at their first meeting. At that time, Feng Yan was being chased. Lam Cam came to bandage his wound. She remembers the people chasing him had bullied girls from her school, so she believed Feng Yan wasn't a bad person. Lam Cam drew a rose on the medicine bag, then told Feng Yan to come to the Xia family to return it to her. Lam Cam goes to return the medicine bag to Feng Yan, seeing the old house still exactly the same. Lam Cam wonder, does the young Marshal keep it familiar or to commemorate his ex-wife? Seeing the wound on Lam Cam's shoulder, Feng Yan pushes her down on the chair. He gently applies medicine for Lam Cam, just like when she bandaged him. Feng Yan questions why Lam Cam deliberately jumps into the fire pit again. He wonders if he is on her revenge list. Lam Cam thinks Feng Yan used her father's life to exchange for a promotion opportunity in the Wanha society. Feng Yan reminds Lam Cam, if you want revenge, you must first keep your own life. The next morning, Feng Yan throws the scar cream jar over the balcony to Lam Cam. He thinks many people are hoping she fails, so best not to reveal any wounds. The wind blows the book, causing the page with the bloody handprint to fly toward Feng Yan. He remembers back then he was chased to the Xia family. There, Feng Yan unexpectedly met Lam Cam again. He was seriously injured, so he accidentally left a bloodstain on her book page. Seeing the Wanha society people rushing into the Xia family, Lam Cam runs out to divert them. Feng Yan thanks Lam Cam for saving him from death twice. She chases after to get to know him. Feng Yan introduces himself as Lam Cam's neighbor. Feng Yan didn't expect Lam Cam to still keep the old memento. Seeing Lam Cam having an attack, he hurriedly gives her medicine. Right then Du Xiao comes to find Lam Cam. Seeing them intimately having dinner, Feng Yan jumps through the window to join. In front of the young Marshal, Du Xiao tries hard to care for Lam Cam. Feng Yan mocks that old song up in heaven is spiritual. Seeing the stepmother and stepson harmonious, he would surely laugh happily. Waiting for Feng Yan to leave, Du Xiao boasts that Qin Shaoxiong just lost a shipment. Strangely, he didn't make a fuss or report it. Lam Cam says she will investigate this matter clearly. The next day, Feng Yan goes to the customs office. Unexpectedly, Lam Cam arrived first to meet Director Lee. Seeing Lam Cam arm in arm with Director Lee, Feng Yan makes an excuse to get acquainted and pulls her hand back. While Lam Cam goes to the bathroom, Feng Yan sneaks up and pins her against the wall. He blames Lam Cam for risking danger just to investigate Chen Xiaoxiong's shipment. Lam Cam says she came to ask Director Lee to introduce her to Mrs. Zhu. Feng Yan reveals the Zhu family is the one offering the reward for capturing the surviving child of the Xia family. They think Lam Cam's father betrayed the Zhu family. Feng Yan reminds that Miss Zhu just returned from abroad. She once met Lam Cam. Back to Director Lee's office, the director boasts he has invited Mrs. Zhu and her daughter to meet Chairman Xia. Lam Cam remembers 6 years ago, Feng Yan went on a blind date with Miss Zhu named Mo Ran. At that time, Lam Cam came to introduce herself as Feng Yan's fiancée. Meeting Lam Cam, Mo Ran feels a bit familiar. Mrs. Zhu thinks her daughter is mistaken, because Chairman Xia is from Longqing. Mo Ran must have met Lam Cam before. She wonders whether Miss Xia is related to the Xia family in Longqing, or if Lam Cam and Feng Yan knew each other before. Feng Yan thinks Mo Ran misremembers, because he only casually knows Chairman Xia. Hearing that, Mo Ran makes an excuse that Lam Cam looks a lot like a movie star. Meeting Mrs. Zhu privately, Lam Cam gets her shares of the Jixiang nightclub. She knows the nightclub was originally built by old Mr. Zhu, the late one, so she shows a little sincerity. Lam Cam remembers old Zhu was a good businessman but was framed by profiteers, and the leader was Chen Xiaoxiong. If Mrs. Zhu is no longer on the same path as Chen Xiaoxiong, then Lam Cam hopes she can support her for the position of chairman of the Xinjiang Commerce Association. On the way back, Feng Yan thanks Mo Ran for helping him cover up Lam Cam's identity. Feng Yan just thanked her the sentence before. The next sentence he asks permission to chase after his ex-wife. Meeting Feng Yan, Lam Cam thanks him for helping her hide her identity. Feng Yan asks how she plans to repay this favor. Lam Cam, what you want, don't I know? Lam Cam thinks she and the young Marshal have a common enemy, Chen Xiaoxiong. She guesses Commander Chow wants Chen Xiaoxiong to sit in the Commerce Association chairman because he's afraid Feng Yan is growing too strong. High merit, evil master. Lam Cam will wait for the young Marshal to return as her ally. On this side, Mo Ran is forced by her mother to go on a blind date. She borrows the guy next to her as a boyfriend to reject the other party. Unexpectedly, Mo Ran mistakes the person because her blind date is Song Du Xiao, standing right next to him. Back to meet Lam Cam, Du Xiao reports people from the Wanha Society are searching for Chen Xiaoxiong's shipment. Lam Cam guesses Chen Xiaoxiong is hiding from the Wanha Society to enrich himself. Just in time, Chen Xiaoxiong holds a birthday party. This is a good opportunity for her to probe him. At the birthday party, Lam Cam meets Chen Xiaoxiong, talking with a foreign accountant of the Wanha Society. She overhears. Xiaoxiong asks the accountant to alter Commander Chow's ledger. He wants to cover up the recently lost shipment. At the party, Lam Cam hears people mocking that her father trafficked opium, so Commander Chow eliminated the evil. She feels suffocated and wants to go out for a walk. Feng Yan silently follows Lam Cam to the dim sum shop. Lam Cam can't hold back her tears when thinking of her warm family in the past. Seeing her drinking to drown sorrows, Feng Yan feels extremely heartbroken, but he only dares to stand in the dark corner, silently watching his wife. Seeing her bumped into, Feng Yan hurriedly pulls Lam Cam's hand. He tells her to believe in what she thinks is right. Don't listen to others' nonsense. Feng Yan gently drapes a shawl over Lam Cam. She weakly nestles into his arms. Feng Yan thinks if only revenge can help Lam Cam forget that night, then he is willing to be her sharp sword. Waking up, Lam doesn't see herself at home. Feng Yan looks at the book on the table. She curiously opens it. Unexpectedly, Feng Yan still keeps their old wedding photo. He goes downstairs for breakfast. Lam Cam probes if when she was drunk she said anything nonsense. Feng Yan teases. What do you hope happened with him? Seeing Lam Cam shy, Feng Yan hasn't seen this side of her for a long time. Seeing the tofu dish, Lam Cam involuntarily remembers past memories. At that time, she invited Feng Yan to watch the play she was in. He said he wouldn't go but conveniently drove to pick her up. Feng Yan even hid a rose in his chest pocket, letting Lam Cam discover it herself. To thank her, Lam Cam takes him to eat delicious sweet tofu. Lam Cam asks Feng Yan if he has ever harmed anyone. If he has any hardships, tell her. Feng Yan affirms he has never done anything against his conscience. Lam Cam smiles mockingly and asks to leave first. Going out, Lam doesn't meet the user. He reports that Chen Xiaoxiong often takes papers from a bulletin board. The user guesses that's a coded communication method. Chen Xiaoxiong might want to pocket a shipment first, before the Wanha Society, to gain an advantage in the election for chairman. This is Tang Qing, a member of the underground organization. It turns out Feng Yan is a spy sent to approach Commander Chow. Feng Yan says he will ally with Lam Cam to investigate Chen Xiaoxiong's shipment. Tang Qing reminds Feng Yan to quickly investigate the evidence of crimes while Commander Chow is still in term. Invites Chen Xiaoxiong to the dance. Lam Cam secretly steals a piece of paper from his pocket. Indeed, it contains a string of codes. The user says to decode the code, a sample is needed. Lam Cam thinks she must find a way into Chen Xiaoxiong's house to find the sample. Leaving the dance, Lam Cam uses the beauty trap to have Chen Xiaoxiong take her home. To indulge the beauty who likes reading, Xiaoxiong brings all his books for Lam Cam, drinking wine while reading. Before that, he secretly put sleeping pills in the wine. Chen Xiaoxiong thinks if Feng Yan comes to save Lam Cam, then this woman is his weakness. On this side, Feng Yan hears Lam Cam went to Chen Xiaoxiong's house. He immediately drives there. Single-handedly takes down all of Chen Xiaoxiong's subordinates. Feng Yan points the gun straight at the scoundrel's head. Feng Yan affirms that Xia Lam Cam is his woman. He beats Chen Xiao unconscious and carries Lam Cam home. Seeing Feng Yan worried, Lam Cam can't bear to continue acting. She reveals she pretended to be drugged by Chen Xiao. Feng Yan blames Lam Cam for thinking her life is too long to deliver fat to the cat's mouth. Lam Cam wonder why Feng Yan said she is his woman. Isn't he afraid of being implicated? Why? She thought dying would be better for the young Marshal's future. Feng Yan suddenly kisses Lam Cam to shut her up. Bitten by Lam Cam, the young Marshal finally lets her go. Feng Yan agrees to give Lam Cam a chance to cooperate with him, until overthrowing Chen Xiaoxiong. Saying he doesn't care on his lips, but Feng Yan still drapes a coat over Lam Cam. Lam Cam remembers the photo at Chen Xiaoxiong's house. He boasted about the photo taken at an event outside the city with the commander. Lam Cam thinks that event was on the day her parents had the incident. Feng Yan is in the photo, so how could he appear at her house? Back home, Lam Cam gives Feng Yan a book. She says she stole the paper with the code from Chen Xiaoxiong's pocket. Lam Cam thinks this book contains the key to the data string. Feng Yan reveals, Commander Chow has long suspected Chen Xiaoxiong of secretly embezzling many goods from the Wanha society. He has sent people to follow Chen Xiaoxiong. Lam Cam urges the young Marshal to quickly decode the code. If that's Chen Xiaoxiong's goods trading point, then all the credit will be Feng Yan's. Right then Du Xiao brings late-night snacks for Lam Cam. Feng Yan jealously asks to leave first. On the way out, meeting Feng Yan, Du Xiao warns the young Marshal to stay away from Lam Cam. Feng Yan questions, does Du Xiao know what happened to Lam Cam today? Feng Yan thinks Lam Cam doesn't want to owe Du Xiao. Feng Yan affirms he can die for Lam Cam, and she is willing to let him die. That's the difference between Feng Yan and Du Xiao. Early morning, Du Xiao reports that Feng Yan has gone to the Jinmen warehouse, but Chen Xiaoxiong has surrounded the Jinmen warehouse. Afraid Feng Yan falls into a trap, Lam Cam tells Du Xiao to gather troops there. As predicted, Feng Yan falls into Chen Xiaoxiong's plan. Arriving at the warehouse, Du Xiao asks Lam Cam why she's risking her life to save the enemy. Lam Cam says on the day the Xia family incident happened, Feng Yan wasn't in Xinjiang. Moreover, if Feng Yan dies, then Xinjiang will fall into Chen Xiaoxiong's hands. Lam Cam tells Du Xiao to stay outside for support. She doesn't want him to risk his life for her. Lam Cam's words make Du Xiao remember the difference between him and Feng Yan. Lam Cam goes in alone to save Feng Yan, seeing his back lying on the ground. Lam Cam fearfully approaches. Feng Yan suddenly pulls her back, seeing him safe. Lam Cam is secretly happy. Feng Yan reveals he had someone else wear his clothes to deceive Chen Xiaoxiong. Lam Cam blames Feng Yan, knowing it's clearly Chen Xiaoxiong's trap, yet he still rushes in. Right then Chen Xiaoxiong enters the warehouse. Feng Yan tells Lam Cam to find the goods, while he diverts Chen Xiaoxiong. Going out to meet Chen Xiaoxiong, Feng Yan demands he quickly reveal the shipment's location. If he finds it himself, then Commander Chow won't let young Master Chen off. Deputy Qin leads troops to rush in and invite everyone to meet the commander. Feng Yan reports to his foster father, suspecting Chen Xiaoxiong of skimming supplies to the front lines. However, he hasn't found solid evidence yet. Commander Chow reminds Feng Yan, his task is to protect Chen Xiao until the election, not to cause internal war. Feng Yan has to admit it's because of Lam Cam, so he's resentful toward Chen Xiaoxiong. Commander Chow is angry that his foster son is blinded by a lowly woman. Feng Yan thinks if Chen Xiaoxiong doesn't have the habit of flinching, why set a trap for Lam Cam at home? Commander Chow tells the young Marshal to step down first. He blames Chen Xiaoxiong for provoking Feng Yan and daring to risk the goods. Xiaoxiong hurriedly explains he already transferred the goods, but he doesn't believe Feng Yan would risk danger just for Lam Cam. Back from the warehouse to meet Du Xiao, Lam Cam says she has investigated that Chen Xiaoxiong's shipment. Xiong's is fake medicine. She guesses he swapped the real medicine shipment to send fake medicine to the front lines. Then Chen Xiaoxiong sells the real medicine to the people at high prices. Du Xiao thinks they must get Chen Xiaoxiong's ledgers to overthrow him. At night, Lam Cam finally waits for Feng Yan to return. Seeing the wound on his forehead, Lam Cam knows he endured Commander Chow's anger. Feng Yan asks Lam Cam to act with him in the play of the young Marshal, pursuing the beauty. Meeting again on the balcony, Lam Cam gives back the scar cream jar to Feng Yan. Lam Cam asks the young Marshal to help her find Chen Xiaoxiong's ledgers. Feng Yan agrees but wants compensation. Lam Cam questions isn't it that he owes her more? Remembering that night, Feng Yan confesses he always tormented himself for letting Lam Cam go through such a painful night. Lam Cam, do you believe I will use this life to protect you? Downstairs, Du Xiao is stunned seeing Lam Cam with Feng Yan. He remembers 5 years ago, his father married Lam Cam as the fourth wife. Seeing Lam Cam about to pretend mother-son affection, Du Xiao advises her to be careful, because his mother died at his father's hands. Lam Cam wants to join hands with Du Xiao. He must help her seize the Lianqing gang. In exchange, Lam Cam will make his father lose everything. Regret for causing his mother's death, Du Xiao originally thought it was just a cooperative relationship, but Du Xiao had long fallen for Lam Cam. At night, Lam Cam sneaks into the Wanha Society's document room to find Chen Xiaoxiong's ledgers. Feng Yan catches her red-handed and praises her growing danza. Hearing Chen Xiaoxiong's voice, Feng Yan hurriedly makes love with Lam Cam to divert him. However, after Xiaoxiong leaves, Feng Yan still doesn't let Lam Cam escape his arms. He presses her tightly on the table, taking advantage of Lam Cam's lapse in vigilance. He takes back the evidence from her hand. Feng Yan says he agreed to help Lam Cam get Chen Xiaoxiong's ledgers, not to expose the Wanha Society. Lam Cam affirms tomorrow she will push Chen Xiaoxiong into the water. At the election, Mrs. Zhu is the first to oppose Chen Xiaoxiong taking the chairman position. Right then the customs director comes to arrest Xiaoxiong for investigation for corruption and smuggling. Du Xiao announces Xiaoxiong's fake medicine sales ledgers. Lam Cam says the real medicine shipment stolen by Xiaoxiong has been seized by customs. Everything matches the transaction records. Mrs. Zhu nominates Xia Lam Cam as Xinjiang Commerce Association chairman. Commander Chow thinks Miss Xia rose from the Lianqing gang. It might make many people unconvinced. He thinks young Marshal Feng is more suitable for the chairman position. Commander Chow gives everyone 5 days to choose the most suitable candidate. Second, appoints Lam Cam to the warehouse. Feng Yan wants to give her a special gift. It turns out he blew up Chen Xiaoxiong's fake medicine shipment. Lam Cam once said, "The most beautiful fireworks are blowing up everything of those who exploit the people." Lam Cam wonders what Commander Chow used to make Feng Yan abandon the Xia family's life and death to sell his life to him. Feng Yan advises Lam Cam to believe in what she thinks is right. Lam Cam just needs to remember he will never harm her. Meeting the commander, Xiaoxiong assures he won't reveal that he smuggled on orders from the commander. Xiaoxiong thinks the ledgers leaked from the Wanha society. He guesses Feng Yan colluded with the Xia family. Then Commander Chow gives Xiaoxiong a chance to escape. He orders Deputy Qin to reinvestigate Xia Lam Cam. At the same time, tells Feng Yan to silence the remaining Chen family members and pin the crime on Lam Cam. Then create an opportunity for Xiaoxiong to meet Lam Cam. If Feng Yan appears, immediately arrest him for the crime of accomplice to Xiaoxiong. On behalf of the underground organization, Tang Qing gives Feng Yan Lam Cam's file. Tang Qing says Commander Chow sent people to investigate Lam Cam. He fears he's starting to suspect Feng Yan. Tang Qing worries Commander Chow will play tricks on Lam Cam, just like he did with old Xia. Feng Yan affirms he won't let anyone threaten Lam Cam's life. On this side, Du Xiao has investigated that after attending the event outside the city, Feng Yan took a car back to Chang that night when the Xia incident happened. On the road, Lam Cam is captured by Chen Xiaoxiong. He questions why he and Lam Cam have no grudge. Yet she destroyed his whole family. Xiaoxiong demands Lam Cam pay with blood for his family. Feng Yan arrives in time. Right then Du Xiao also leads troops to rescue Lam Cam. Knowing Commander Chow's people are ambushing around, Lam Cam asks Du Xiao to swap clothes with Feng Yan to divert the commander's subordinates. At the mansion, Commander, Deputy Qin reports Feng Yan didn't come to save Lam Cam. Commander Chow calls his foster son. He confides he doesn't want Feng Yan ruined by Xia Lam Cam's hands. Feng Yan affirms he's only temporarily interested in her. Commander Chow assigns Feng Yan the task to kill Xia Lam Cam, then pin the crime on Chen Xiaoxiong. Feng Yan goes to the nightclub to drink away his sorrows. Coincidentally meets Lam Cam. He invites her for a dance. In a space filled with bubbles, Feng Yan's affectionate gaze is filled with Lam Cam's figure. Xia Lam Cam, no matter what happens next, you must believe in me. If possible, we will complete our unfinished marriage from back then. Marry me, Lam Cam. Lam Cam hasn't understood yet, when Deputy Qin suddenly brings troops. He says he will replace the commander to preside over the vote for Commerce Association chairman. Lam Cam tells Du Xiao to bring Chen Xiaoxiong up. She says criminal Chen Xiaoxiong daringly escapes in front of the commander and young Marshal. If Feng Yan is elected, the Lianqing Association won't submit to Deputy Qin presents an arrest warrant for Lam Cam for the crime of killing 27 people. The Chen family. Following his foster father, Feng Yan points the gun at Lam Cam. He says the arrest warrant must be obeyed. But Xia Lam Cam is his fiancée. According to regulations, to arrest military relatives requires the soldier's permission. Feng Yan does not recognize the arrest warrant because there's not enough convincing evidence. Seeing Feng Yan disregard everything to protect her, Lam wonders if he's sincere or deliberately deceiving her again. What she saw, is it the truth? In front of the commander's mansion, Feng Yan kneels in the rain for 3 hours to beg to see his foster father. He shows his father the evidence that Chen Xiaoxiong embezzled a lot of Wanha society goods. Feng Yan thinks marrying Lam Cam and being Xinjiang Commerce Association chairman would make it easier to control the Lianqing Association to atone to his foster father. He shoots himself in the hand. Commander Chow reminds Feng Yan to bring Lam Cam home to live together for easier management. Feng Yan returns in the rain. Seeing Lam Cam, Feng Yan hugs her tightly. He wishes time would stop at this moment. Back home, Feng Yan faints. In his delirium, he says, "Don't be afraid, I'll protect you, Lam Cam." Lam Cam recognizes Feng Yan said that on the night her parents met disaster. Early morning waking up, Feng Yan happily gazes at Lam Cam sleeping. But her familiar face is what he doesn't dare touch. At breakfast, Feng Yan thanks Lam Cam for taking care of him. Seeing Feng Yan's hand hurt, Lam Cam makes an excuse to practice married life by feeding porridge to her husband. Feng Yan eats porridge while gazing at his future wife. On this side, Commander Chow meets Du Xiao. He proposes cooperation with Du Xiao to overthrow Feng Yan. Du Xiao wonders why Commander Chow harming Feng Yan. Isn't it as easy as turning his hand? Commander Chow says he has lost Chen Xiaoxiong. Now acting against Feng Yan might make people speculate. If Du Xiao cooperates, Commander Chow will spare Lam Cam. That night meeting Du Xiao, Lam Cam gives him the Lianqing Association's ledgers. Lam Cam reveals, in the last 10 days of Commander Chow's term, if she doesn't gather 10 pieces of evidence in time, she will assassinate him. Lam Cam fears implicating Du Xiao and the Lianqing Association. Du Xiao says Commander Chow is meeting Japanese people tonight, probably related to the Wanha Society's illegal activities. It turns out Commander Chow has been smuggling weapons to Japan for years. Back then, because the Xia family discovered Commander Chow's crimes, the Japanese eliminated the whole family. The wine pouring maid beside hurries to ask to leave. It turns out she is Lam Cam's person. However, she lies that the commander lets Feng Yan sit in the Commerce Association chairman position. As a reward, he eliminated the Xia family. As soon as she finishes, she is shot down. Unexpectedly, the shooter is Feng Yan. Lam Cam asks Feng Yan, "Are you the one who killed my parents?" Even as Lam Cam fires, Feng Yan still approaches to explain to her. Seeing Deputy Qin arrive, Lam Cam hurriedly leaves. It turns out Du Xiao colluded with Commander Chow to bribe the wine maid to frame Feng Yan. Meeting Tang Qing, Feng Yan blames himself for acting without thinking, causing Lam Cam to misunderstand. Knowing the wine maid was bribed by Commander Chow, he feared she would act against Lam Cam. Going to meet the user, Mo gifts him 2 cloth dolls she sewed herself. Seeing Lam Cam's photo in the user's watch, Mo recognizes he deliberately approached her so she would help Lam Cam in the election. At the commander's mansion, Deputy Qin has investigated. No one has seen the face of the Xia family son. Strangely, in the file, he studied in the same class as Xia Lam Cam. Deputy Qin suspects the Xia family son never existed. Commander Chow orders Feng Yan to meet Lam Cam. He says Feng Yan and Lam Cam. Only one can survive. Feng Yan immediately takes the gun and shoots himself, but the gun has no bullets. Commander Chow blames his ungrateful foster son. He forces Feng Yan to kneel on broken glass shards to save Lam Cam. Feng Yan immediately complies. Despite the pain, he struggles to her side. However, Commander Chow goes back on his word and doesn't let both survive. Feng Yan says he has delivered evidence that Commander Chow assassinated old Xia to his subordinate. If he doesn't return, all evidence will be given to the press. Commander Chow doesn't believe because if Feng Yan had evidence, he would have overthrown him long ago. To prove it, Feng Yan calls subordinates to bring the evidence in. It's half a recording with old Xia's voice. Feng Yan says he hid the final part of the recording elsewhere. Commander Chow agrees to give Feng Yan one day to bring the evidence to him. Outside, Feng Yan reveals the recording has no final part. He pretends secrecy to find a way out. Lam Cam asks Feng Yan who is the murderer who killed her parents. To answer, Feng Yan brings Lam Cam to her parents' grave. He says he buried his wife's parents' bones, but didn't dare write their names. Feng Yan always keeps the old family photo. Lam Cam bursts into tears grieving for her parents. Feng Yan says, "The murderer who killed my biological parents is Commander Chow. He tried every way to approach him." Unexpectedly, the first task Commander Chow gave him was to assassinate the Xia family. That day, Commander Chow took Feng Yan outside the city. Knowing he acted against the Xia family earlier than planned, Feng Yan hurriedly returned but it was too late. Lam Cam's father, to protect his 2 children, held Feng Yan's hand to stab himself. Hearing footsteps, Feng Yan hurriedly hides Lam Cam under the bed. He makes an excuse that the Xia family son escaped to divert Deputy Qin. From then on, Feng Yan swore to clear the Xia family's name before restoring his own innocence. Lam Cam grieves for misunderstanding Feng Yan all these years. On the road, Feng Yan discovers he's being followed and pulls Lam Cam into a theater. Seeing Feng Yan's handful of scars, Lam Cam feels extremely heartbroken. Feng Yan guesses Chen Xiaoxiong will leave evidence to find a way out for himself. For now, they must make Chen Xiaoxiong bite back at Commander Chow. He looks up at the stage. Lam Cam remembers the play she performed for Feng Yan to watch. Seeing Lam Cam under the stage lights again, Feng Yan can't hold back his tears. He steps to her side like back then. Feng Yan places a sweet kiss on Lam Cam's lips. Back home meeting Du Xiao, Lam Cam says Feng Yan didn't kill her parents. Lam Cam questions how Du Xiao bribed the 10 wine girls, then lured her there to misunderstand Feng Yan. Lam Cam doesn't blame Du Xiao because she pulled him into this story herself. But she hopes Du Xiao won't continue colluding with Commander Chow. Visiting Chen Xiaoxiong, Feng Yan reveals he is a discarded pawn. According to the commander's way of doing things, the dead keep the tightest secrets. Xiaoxiong believes the commander will still protect him. But deep down he's panicked and afraid. On this side, Mo Ren goes to meet Commander Chow. She says Chen Xiaoxiong sent her a tape with old Xia's voice when he was alive. However, the recording is fragmented so Mo Ren doesn't understand. Commander Chow thinks it was Xiaoxiong who gave the tape to Feng Yan. He orders the deputy to silence Chen Xiaoxiong. It turns out Feng Yan asked Mo Ran to bring the tape to Commander Chow to make him suspect Chen Xiaoxiong. Waiting for Deputy Qin to act to silence him, Feng Yan appears to save Xiaoxiong. Feng Yan tells Xiaoxiong to swap clothes with the deputy. Feng Yan brings Xiaoxiong to meet Lam Cam. She says she is the last bloodline of the Xia family. Xiaoxiong thinks the one who killed the Xia family is Commander Chow. Why did she act against his whole family? Feng Yan advises Xiaoxiong to think, who is the real culprit? Xiaoxiong recounts back then, old Xia saw Commander Chow's weapon smuggling deal with Japan. Because old Xia wanted to publicize the news, Commander Chow sent Deputy Qin and Feng Yan to silence the Xia and Chen families. Xiaoxiong secretly recorded all of Commander Chow's smuggling telegrams. However, he keeps a ledger, recording all deals with the one behind. Feng Yan tells Xiaoxiong to hide here for now. When the time comes, he will give him freedom. But according to Xiaoxiong's words, Lam Cam goes to get evidence of Commander Chow's crimes. Feng Yan says he will hand the evidence to his organization to catch Commander Chow all at once. He confesses that when everything ends, he will stay with Lam Cam forever. Meeting Tang Qing, Feng Yan submits Commander Chow smuggling telegram records. Tang Qing thinks they need the corresponding transaction ledger to convict Commander Chow. Feng Yan thinks he will impersonate the Xia family son to lure Commander Chow into revealing a flaw sacrificing himself, is the only way to protect Lam Cam. Back home, Feng Yan reports. The organization has arranged a plan to accuse Commander Chow. Feng Yan gently hugs Lam Cam in his arms, waiting for the clock to strike the new day. Feng Yan wishes happy birthday to his love. Xiao Lam Cam, will you marry me again? Lam Cam nods happily beside Feng Yan. On this side, Du Xiao goes to meet Commander Chow. He has investigated that Feng Yan has a rare blood disease, matching the hereditary disease of the Xia family. Du Xiao guesses old Xia protected his son. So had Feng Yan become the Feng family's adopted son. Du Xiao is willing to eliminate Feng Yan for the commander, on condition that Lam is not safe. At night at the restaurant, Feng Yan thoughtfully prepares fragrant flowers as a gift for his wife. As Mrs. Feng, Lam Cam wants to rent a small house. Every sunset, the couple will go shopping together. Feng Yan agrees, after overthrowing Commander Chow. He will fulfill each one with Lam Cam. Feng Yan tells his wife to listen. He secretly thinks, Lam Cam, in this life, I let you down, hoping in the next life you will still be by my side. At that moment, Commander Chow discovers Deputy Qin is dead. He is even more certain of the users. Guess that Feng Yan is the Xia family son. The next day, Feng Yan personally cooks breakfast for his wife. He reminds Lam Cam to eat properly. Don't lose weight to stay slim. Additionally, he has money deposited in the central bank and safe. Feng Yan asks his wife to manage the family assets for him. Lam Cam suddenly feels sleepy and falls into her husband's arms. To protect his wife, Feng Yan puts sleeping pills in the porridge. Lam Cam, I'm sorry. You must forgive me, I love you, Lam Cam. Downstairs, Du Xiao waits to capture Feng Yan. Du Xiao advises Feng Yan not to resist in vain. If Feng Yan surrenders, Commander Chow will spare Lam Cam. Back at the prison, Du Xiao captures Feng Yan and demands he reveal his accomplices. Feng Yan reveals, others are holding Commander Chow smuggling telegrams. He believes they will soon find the transaction ledger to convict Commander Chow. Seeing Feng Yan not confessing, Du Xiao cruelly uses torture, making Commander Chow look at him differently. On this side, Lam Cam wakes up and sees the letter Feng Yan left. He tells his wife not to look for him but quickly leaves Xinqing. Feng Yan promises to avenge her parents for Lam Cam. If there is a next life, he only hopes to be an ordinary couple with Lam Cam. At the dock, Ren prepares to go abroad but still looks forward to the user. He has arrived but only stands to see her off from afar. Ren disappointedly boards the ship. Then her family comes to report that Commander Chow has sent troops to surround Sheng Association and Feng family. Ren hurriedly goes to find the user. Waiting for Commander Chow to leave the prison, Lam Cam sneaks in to save her husband. She screams thinking she's too late. Feng Yan wakes up because he promised not to leave Lam Cam behind. Before that, he colluded with Du Xiao to perform the play in front of Commander Chow. Feng Yan wants to exploit Commander Chow's fear of the Xia family to make him bring the transaction ledger to leave Xinqing. Commander Chow thinks the blood drug has finished off. Feng Yan, as predicted, he takes the transaction ledger from the dog kennel. Du Xiao immediately shows his cards. However, the suspicious Commander Chow had prepared for Du Xiao early. Du Xiao hurriedly flees but the gun has no bullets. In the precarious situation, Feng Yan arrives in time to rescue. Du Xiao chases Commander Chow. He unexpectedly shoots from behind. Right then Ren runs up and takes the bullet for the user. Ren struggles to confess her heart to the man she loves. User, if you want to protect Lam Cam, I will protect you. Even if we started from a mistake, I have no regrets. Commander Chow runs to the riverbank and is blocked by Lam Cam. Lam Cam demands Commander Chow pay with his life for her parents. Before she can shoot, Xiao Xiong demands Commander Chow's life. Before falling, he manages to shoot Lam Cam in the chest. Seeing Lam Cam fall into the river, Feng Yan jumps after her. A peaceful Xinqing has returned. Ren survives and sends a letter from abroad to the user. Commander Chow is sentenced for treason, and old Xia is cleared. 3 years later, Du Xiao drives on the road and suddenly hears Lam Cam's voice. After going through thousands of hardships, they finally get to be together, living peacefully and happily.
Bộ phim đến đây là kết thúc. Hãy đăng ký kênh để theo dõi những câu chuyện tiếp theo trên Kiến Review phim nhé.